Hello, Facebook.
Yeah, so we've got a few minutes before I started the YouTube live, so I don't know if it's going to start on the Podcast Movement website. Probably right at...
It's going to be, I think there's a countdown timer
yeah, there's
on it.
right at 3 o'clock. So everyone, we've got about 2 minutes before we're going to officially start here. So we have to wait for the Podcast Movement page to make us live.
Yep.
And I got time now to do this. Okay.
So I'm just showing off PowerPress and
Yeah,
Publisher.
And then you can walk me. Yeah, we can walk through everything else.
Okay.
All right, that's up, and up. And the YouTube stream is up. So let me go back to this. Minute 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's almost like being on a broadcast. Wait till the commercials run, and then you're good.
And then we can start, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those on Podcast Movement, they're not hearing us yet, but there's a chat over there as well as on the other platforms. We may not get to it live, but we'll catch up afterwards.
Yeah, we'll watch.
I'll watch the one in Podcast Movement.
Yep. All right, 44 seconds is what the website says. Everyone else, we're live everywhere else. Of course, those of you that are watching this in replay on the Podcast Movement website, we probably started the stream a minute earlier or so, but we'll be ready to go here in about 18 seconds. It is kind of cool how the site does kind of like just update. I don't know if you have to refresh the page or not.
No. Let's make sure you have your volume turned down. So.
Yeah, I do have it turned down, and there we are. Okay, so I think I can see myself. I can see you.
Okay. Well, hello.
Hey, everyone. I know that some of you may be watching this in replay. That's fine. But I'm Todd Cochran. I'm the founder and CEO of Blubrry Podcasting. And Mike, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Mike Dell. I'm the customer support manager here at Blubrry. I'm the one that helps people navigate all this stuff.
So I know many of you probably know Mike more than you know me, because when we're at actual events, you always come up and say, "Where's Mike? I want to meet Mike."
Yeah.
So today is unique in that for those of you attending Podcast Movement virtual, or those of you that are watching on one of our streaming platforms that we're pushing to right now, we're going to go through and do some demos. Some of this may be stuff you've seen already, but let me just run you down what we've got planned today. We're going to do a quick overview of PowerPress. We're going to do a demo of publishing within WordPress. We're going to show our Blubrry publisher for those that don't use WordPress or choose not to. And Mike's going to show some settings off there too. And then I'm going to talk about statistics, ad injection, private internal podcasting. I'm going to show you our PWA app and our network plugin. So hopefully we got time to get through all this stuff. And if there's people here that want to ask questions later, you can. We'll look at the various chats and try to go back. But Mike, if you want to go ahead on PowerPress, when you go full screen, then I'll flip you in. So I'm ready for you to go share your screen.
All right.
All right. So you're up.
All right. So this is what it will look like in back. Or let me go full screen here, or at least cover up all my icons here. So give me a second here. But basically, I'm going to go through kind of the settings, not really in depth, but in PowerPress, when you have the PowerPress plugin installed, there's a whole section down here of things, and in settings here, You can set up your feed, and it goes has a whole bunch of settings and whatnot. There's where your title goes and your description that goes in the feed, and of course we have the Apple settings where we've got all the options.
Hey Mike, before you get too far, this is PowerPress for WordPress for those of you that have never seen.
This is the PowerPress plugin for WordPress. Sorry about that. But it works seamlessly with PowerPress or with Blubrry hosting, which I'll show you in a bit. But it has all the settings for Apple. Apple has some specific things that it needs, and a lot of the other directories use a lot of these same settings. Like this email address, that's your feed email, even though it's in the Apple settings here, it pretty much covers all the rest of them. You've got a place here to upload your artwork, just all the various things you want. And the unique thing about PowerPress is when you publish a show, you're publishing a blog post, and then you're adding your podcast media to that blog post, and we have an uploader built in. And like I said, when I demo that, I'll show you that. But some of the other side things here is we can import podcasts in from various places and pretty much any RSS feed. And that imports all your posts that you had on whatever place you're migrating from into your WordPress. Now, this is a one-time thing. It's not a workflow. So, if you're going to use PowerPress to publish your show on your own WordPress site, which is what we, as a company, that's kind of our specialty. That's, we want you to do you. We don't want to own your feed. We don't want to lock you in. We just want to build the tools and get out of your way. Also have audio players, various ones. Up here is the Blubrry one, and that one's for, if you're hosting on Blubrry, but you can use PowerPress without hosting on Blubrry, and it gives you a couple choices for players for that. We can also do video, so there's a video player, a couple of different ones that you can use. But basically all the settings for your feeds are in all of these settings. And as far as distribution, you can submit to all these different places. And we're going to be adding a couple more here very, very shortly. Amazon and Podcast Index. But all these things here have it built right in. So if you want to get on Apple, you click here, how to submit to Apple. Gives you an instruction sheet and submit you to Apple. And Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, so on, all the different places. And that's, it's not exclusive. You have an RSS feed. So if there's any other places that you can submit your show, there's your RSS feed. And it comes right off of your website. You notice it comes from underwaterbasketweaving.net, which is my demo site here. And that's all that the world knows. It doesn't know that you're hosting with Blubrry. So, and let's see, to make a new episode, it's pretty easy. Let's come up here in WordPress, you add new, and it's a post, not a page. There's pages here. Blogging and podcasting are the same thing. So that's what you do when you make a blog post for your podcast episode. All right, let me see here. So you first title it. Just put something up there. The main big box here is for your show notes or blog post content. Same thing, but you could put pictures in here. If I wanted to add a picture of somebody underwater here, you can do that right in here. Let's do a visual. It looks better. But then all of that, it's just like any other blog post. And then down here, you just click choose file. And if you're hosting with Blubrry and actually signed in, okay, let me sign in to Blubrry.
So operator error there, Mike.
Yeah,
you weren't prepared.
Well, hey, it's the first time we're doing this demo, so hey. So let's go back to settings. Go to Blubrry account and.
So what Mike's doing right now is he's linking or syncing the account between PowerPress and then Blubrry services. And if you got the password right,
I did. Yeah, slowly. Usually quicker than that. There we go. And then I have multiple shows, so I get this extra screen here where I get to select what show. Hit save. There we go.
So now that you're synced with Blubrry, you go back to your post.
Go back to the post that I was working on. We don't need to save that. So then we paste in that. Go down here to choose file.
A little different screen this time.
Yep, a little different screen. And normally it would show you all of the shows that you've uploaded in the past, but since this is brand new.
All your episodes, yeah.
Yeah, all your episodes. Then I go select the file. I believe it was on my desktop that I put that file. And there's my first episode. Open, and it just uploads. And it's a short file, so it won't take long. And then both those close. You click verify, and you get a pretty good indication that it worked because it turns green and has a big check mark there. Down here, you can put a special title if you want Apple to have a different title. You can put in your episode number here. If you're doing seasons on Apple, you can put seasons in there. You can upload episodic artwork. It shows up on some directories. You can even, say you don't want the player on this particular post. There's a bunch of options in here, and we won't go into great details, but then you categorize it wherever you want to. This is not necessary for podcasting unless you're using category podcasting, which is a completely different thing, and you just hit publish. And once it's published, you can go to your website, and you'll see that there's the episode title. There's the player, and I'm just using the simple player, but we do have the fancier one. And there's your download link, your play a new window link. If you choose to, you can have all your subscription links there.
Hey, Mike, why don't you change out the player so they see how easy it is to change the player?
Certainly.
So
let's go here to PowerPress and Audio Player. You just select that player up here, activate and configure. Now you can select colors if you want all these buttons to be a different color. Once you're happy with it, you hit Save Changes. Go back to the site, and there's the new player with all the fancier stuff on it. You can have a download link. It'll just actually play the show. You can share it to different social media right here. So it's pretty slick. And then, like I said, we have this widget over here on the side that you can add as many different destinations as you want. I just covered, the main ones here.
So, Mike, a normal podcaster, when they install PowerPress, how long does it take them to get because we run them through a basic setup. How long does it take them to get set up with PowerPress?
Just getting the basics and getting your first episode up. I can do it in 30 minutes, but I know where everything is. But if you have everything handy, your artwork and all that stuff, 30, 45 minutes at the very most. Sometimes it's quicker, and we have a quick setup down here under PowerPress. If you hit Getting Started, it'll take you through all the different things that you absolutely have to have
to be ready to get going, right?
Yeah, that's the basics, and then you'll want to go back in and tweak certain things. But as far as descriptions and
I think for a new podcaster though, that's the place to go first, is the Getting Started screen, and that way you get the basics of what you need, and don't dive into the settings because that can get pretty deep pretty quick.
Oh yeah, definitely, and we do provide a video that'll take you through step by step by step. You'll get that as soon as you sign up for Blubrry. And watch me fumble around and set this site up again.
Yeah, one thing that I want to make everyone aware of is once you're set up, then doing your show is no more work than writing a blog post and uploading your media file.
Yeah, like I showed here.
Yeah, just write the title, write your show notes, and then write in WordPress. You upload and publish, and you're done. Now, we support more than WordPress. We obviously... You don't have to be a WordPress user to use Blubrry podcast services. So, Mike, why don't you I see you've taken them over to Blubrry now. Why don't you take them into the dashboard if they want to publish through. Now, another thing I should add before we go too deep is we do give you a free WordPress site if you want one. So if you don't have one, we give you a free one. And but again, let's say you're on Squarespace or you're on some of the other sites that aren't so podcast friendly, you can publish on our site or even just use our site directly, and we give you a landing page as well. So why don't you go through that a little bit? You don't have to go through too many settings, but
no. And it's, literally it's the same basic settings that you would have, your summary, your description, your, all the information that you want about your podcast.
Category.
All that stuff. And then, there's just the artwork. So, you can upload a piece of artwork right here, and that's really about it. As far as the setup, it's very similar information that you would use in WordPress and PowerPress. So to make a new episode, you come right here to the episodes box and create new episode. You can pick a published time or date, so you can forward schedule this, and it'll release on the time and date that you select. But most people just want to publish it and be done. So put your title in here. The subtitle, you can stick a one-liner in there. That doesn't show up in very many places, so you can leave that blank if you choose to. And then you put in your blog post content, just like you did on WordPress. And instead of an episode box area, you've got this uploader here. And you'll notice that uploader looks really familiar because it's the same uploader, because it's actually going to the same place. You just upload the episode. And once it's done, that box closes. That's in there. If you want to add some extra metadata, like your seasons and episode number, episode title, if you want it different, there's a whole bunch of other little options here, but none of that is required. And you just simply hit publish. And that puts it out into the RSS feed that we provide you here at Blubrry, which I'll show you. And on Blubrry, the RSS feed's actually human readable. So there's the episode we just published, and that's the episode that we published from WordPress, since they're linked. So
yeah, so you got two in there. So why don't you
don't
show
want to
them?
do both.
So why don't you, this is using the same show for both. Why don't you show them the actual web page that we give them for that?
So this would be your landing page if you're publishing here on Blubrry.
So that basically is just kind of a set it and forget it. It's almost like an Instagram or Twitter landing page. And really, you're a podcaster at this point. That RSS feed can be submitted to Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts will pick it up. And the same thing with destinations. You can send this show now to any destination that you want.
Yep, and then you can also, there's subscribe links right here on that landing page, and you get this landing page whether you're you're doing it on WordPress or you're doing it right from Blubrry, because it's part of our directory.
Right.
So it's really you get it either which way.
So the main thing to remember here, and Mike, if you want to come back full screen with me, that'd be great. The thing to remember here is that while we do have PowerPress for WordPress, we work with any website. And matter of fact, static websites, it doesn't matter how you publish your show, because what we can do is, if you're not on WordPress, we give you an embed, just like kind of like a YouTube embed. You put that player, the same player you saw on Mike's site, take that embed.
It's that Blubrry player with your image in it and everything that you can embed in any other site.
Yeah, you can put it on any other site. Matter of fact, that can be shared with people as well. And then we give in the RSS feed. So, and again, if you don't have a WordPress site and you want a WordPress site, we give you one for free. So that just kind of quickly covers the basis. And the thing I want to reiterate that, Mike ran you through a number of steps, but once you're set up, again, it's write that blog post, upload the media, publish, you're done. And you basically you can spend time focusing on creating content. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the stats. And the stats are kind of like an onion. They're designed like an onion. And let me bring up the right screen here. So the stats is basically, it gives you this overall view, and I got September loaded on a show, and you can see your complete downloads for the lifetime or for just the period at hand. But everything you see at, like, as an example, for October, September, August, or custom range, if you want to see what's happened from January to June, every layer, you get the same amount of data and detail. And sometimes you can get down in the onion so deep that you're down on a single episode and you're just looking at one show and what happened on that episode. But let's look at this show and what happened in September. First and foremost, this show had a total of 2,953 downloads for September. It had partial downloads. In other words, those were downloads that happened that didn't get completed. You can see the breakdown here. 278 that made it 75 to 99%, 59 that went 50 to 75, 25 to 50 that did 134, and 500K to 25%, 634. You can see we lost some people when these were non-subscribed people. These were people that would have just hit play on a player. So you can see those downloads. Now, something that we provide here is month to month. Now, because we're only looking at a single month, this has previous month's data too, so you can see how a show has done over 12 months or 2 years, and there's not quite 2 years full of data there. But you can also look and see what's happened for a specific set of shows. Again, we're looking at the shows that have been downloaded specifically in October. Again, we're only looking at the October data of, let's say there's 300 episodes in October that have been made available to download. So we're just looking here at what has happened in October. Distribution-wise, we get the ability then to break this out by mobile, web, podcatchers, basically things that we can't detect, tablets, TV set-tops, IPAs, and we break that down in those percentages. Another thing we do is platforms is a little bit deeper. iOS, Windows, Mac, Android, multiple platforms, blog applications, Chromebooks, some stuff that we just can't detect. And you can see that list. And all these are exportable via CSVs. Another thing we provide is a client list. And this is where on my show, I can have as many as 100 clients per month. This one has 33. So Chrome, Overcast, Apple Watch, iTunes. Matter of fact, we stopped measuring Apple Watch. You're not going to see Apple Watch data in out months at this point because of the IAB certification stuff went away for Apple Watch because it was causing dupe downloads. We also look at world data. You can see a map of where your content's been consumed. You can look at the United States. Again, you can see a map of where you can see where we aren't being listened to. This is, kind of like the heartland there. You can actually look at U.S. metro areas too. We've got 299 Nielsen metro areas. You can see what metro areas the show was actually consumed in, so you get a pretty good idea. Same thing with Canada. We can look at Canada and see how we did in Canada, UK, Brazil, Germany. So that gives you an idea of the type of data that we're able to give you. And even in Germany, we've got a map, so you can see how many people listen. We had one person download a show in I don't know if they call them provinces or what they call them in Germany. States. So Brazil, same deal. Actually, we got quite a few people listening in Brazil, so you can see where they've tuned in.
Yeah, we can even do hourly data back in the trending area on a single episode. So
let's go back to that. And if I go back and I pick up an episode that was produced in September and I do look at the hourly trending, I can go here and we give you 7 days of hourly trending. And that gives you an idea how this show has been consumed over the first 7 days. We only do 7 days of data. So you can look at day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. You can see how it drops off, right? So most of that consumption happens in the first really 24, 48 hours. And then it drops off. So all this is, again, it's like an onion. You can go out and look at the biggest. Right now, we're looking at a single episode. And you can see how that breakdown is for that specific episode. So we try to give you as much information as we can. We've got some new stuff coming. It's called play tracking. And we got a demo of that this past Wednesday, so I'm pretty excited to bring that on board. The play tracking will strictly be things that have happened in players on your website with the Blubrry player. You'll be able to see how many plays you got in Chrome or in Safari or whatever type of web browser has loaded the specific web player. All right, the next thing I want to move into, and I got to switch browsers here because multiple accounts logged in. Let's see, let me minus that. I'm going to look at my list. So I want to talk about ad injection a little bit. And this is let's see if I can find the right menu. Maybe I should have stayed on that other browser. Let me look here. Too many windows opened up.
Yeah, it happens.
It happens.
Doing live demos, sometimes you lose
so we're gonna come back to ad injection. We'll do that last, just because I've got the right account opened up to show you the next segment. And let me look at that list. So we're going to show you the private internal podcasting. This is something new that we've introduced. And when you're on our dashboard and you're a private internal podcasting customer, you're going to see something that says private podcasting admin. And it's going to bring you into an admin that basically lets you set up your settings, your artwork. This is for a network that we call Low Hanging Fruit. You can set up the shows that are going to be part of that network, and you can manage them. And for this particular site, we're using manual logins. We can support Samuel or OAuth 2 or OpenID, or all three at once. And then we've got the ability to manage users over here and set the security levels and groups that they belong to. Now, a group would be, as an example, if you have, let's say you have 5 shows, and you have a show that's purely for executive staff, you can set a show designation as executive, and only the executives that are in that security group will be able to get access to that show, and same thing with staff. So this is just really kind of the dashboard to get your shows set up for private internal podcasting. And while I'm not going to show the Blubrry private podcasting iOS or Android app today, what I am going to show you is our private web app. And the private web app allows an authenticated user to log in and get access to these private podcasts. And if you want more information on private internal podcasting, Mike has been doing a number of webinars weekly that goes into the details of the security and what you can get at a variety of levels. And really, at the lowest level of security, you can be on a PWA. You can access the private podcast via authenticated user on Apple Podcast or Overcast or some apps that support it. The higher in security level you go, you may not be able to use the private or the public web app or private web app because it's largely because the media can't be secured in the way the security level requires. But for this, we've got this set up so that you can. And let's just look at for low-hanging fruit from the corner office. And really what this is we can do audio or video on this. So we have the ability to go ahead and consume content. You can play it right from there, and it'll stay right on the bottom of the page. Or you can come pick another show. Announcements, and again, we've got test stuff here, and people can play the podcast right on the website.
Yeah. And what's nice about PWA, that web app, is you can take that and get on it on the phone
and a mobile device,
and then save it to your home screen, or I forget what Android calls it, but it acts just like an app on your phone.
Right.
But we do have apps too. So
yeah, we have an apps, but this will work right on your mobile phone. And again, authenticated user that can access the private content that you have put up, and again, audio, video, or even media files. So this has become real popular with podcasters that have premium content or bonus content, and for corporations who are trying to have private messages. And for this, obviously we've got some test accounts in here too, because we test against our own apps and stuff. You can see some test stuff in there, but really and then you can have public shows in there too. So this is a public show that's been allowed to be put in the public web app, so that if you want your employees to be able to access to public shows, they can do that as well through the system. Did I miss anything on that, Mike?
No, other than the publishing of the episodes is exactly like I showed you with our publisher system. It's right on Blubrry, and it works exactly the same for these kind of shows as it does for public shows.
The next thing I want to show you is our network plugin, and this is the one that doesn't get a lot of exposure, and I think will interest many of you. The network plugin, it comes with our Pro service, and the network plugin is designed to showcase podcasts that are in your network. And in this example, Blubrry owns the Tech Podcast Network. It's made up of about 100 different shows, and you can see we have the homepage set up with all the shows, album art. But this is really fantastic in what this does. So each of these pages is generated by a shortcode, and basically it's just a little snippet of text that tells the page how to render. So right up here where it says Tech Podcast Network, this is just written in a normal blog sense. It's basically written as you would write a blog post, and then
it's a plain old plain old WordPress page.
That's right. And then below that, where this starts, this is where the shortcode is injected, and the page is generated dynamically. And so let's click on the Chris Voss show here. I mean, you'll see that this page rendered just incredibly fast. And what we do is we cache this, and about every 3 hours we update the cache so we can update the listings. You notice that this episode came out on October 22nd, with his today, and it's got available all the places you can subscribe to shows along with his main website. But the one thing that I want you to be aware of here is this is still a full functional website. So we've got, even though we made the homepage the place where we showcase the shows, we still have a full-blown website here with video and audio podcasts built into it. This could be the homepage. This page that I have designated with the showcasing could be a separate page. You're not restricted in having it at the homepage. But there's different ways we can show this. And I should mention, Chris Voss did his latest episode on October 22nd, but we stacked this newest to oldest. If I go down here to the bottom right-hand corner, this show's last episode was July 10th of 2019. So we make the most new content, the most relevant content at the top of the list. Again, this will update about every 3 hours and restack itself based upon the... And
all of those shows could be on different platforms.
That's right. So,
meaning, it's not just Blubrry shows
right
that are on there.
Yeah, so the way we price it is if they're on your account, it doesn't cost you anything to use the network plugin. If they're out of network, let's say they're hosting a Podbean or Libsyn or someone else out, but they're part of your network, then we have a tiered pricing for you to showcase. It's very affordable as part of your private, part of your pro hosting package. Now, what else we do here is something kind of unique. I've got a network list. So I've got a list view where it just lists it as a view. So it's okay, I don't need to see 100 shows in a list view. So Todd, break this down a little bit for me. So we've got it set up so that you can do a gaming list. So if you have 4 or 5 shows that are part of your network that are gaming, again, you can say, oh, there's the Linux Games Cast Weekly. Let me go ahead and check that out. And it loads it very quickly again. And again, another way just to quickly showcase. Now, you'll notice here that we don't give you the entire show notes. We just give you an excerpt of their first paragraph of their show notes so that we can just give you a little taste. You can download, you can play, you can subscribe. This thing is really, really slick. Now, we've got the ability so that you can actually set up an apply page. So if you want people to apply for your network, you can. You can put this behind a password-protected page. So if you want to pre-qualify people, they just come in, put their RSS feed, they choose which category they're going to be in, they agree to the network terms and conditions, submit, and then all you have to do is go in and approve them. And this is really purely, again, a way to showcase shows. Now, what I want to show you is... nope, I'm on the wrong page.
Yeah, this is actually the same sort of technology that we use for the Blubrry directory with 1 point something million shows in it. So.
That's right. So if you look here, we are in WordPress again, and we've got in matter of fact, we're rolling the network plugin into PowerPress. So you'll see a network icon in PowerPress going forward. If you have the service available, you'll have a menu like this. So as an example, here's applicants. These are people that have applied to be part of the network. And actually, I need to get in here and review these and go ahead and approve or reject those applicants. And then, but what's really cool is if I approve a show, it automatically creates the page for them. That landing page that you saw is actually a page on WordPress, and it'll automatically create that page for you. So you just maybe do a little minor editing when it brings it up. Another thing is a list. It's got a list of all the shows. So example, or actually a list of categories, and we actually call it a list so that we don't get you confused with category. This has nothing to do with a WordPress category, so it's a list. But I just label it as categories on the front of the web page because it makes sense there. But you can see devices, gaming, tech chat, platforms, and really all this is a designation of a page that is going to carry that specific category of content and the shows that are going to be part of that specific category. And then finally here, we've got the actual program list where each of the programs that are part of the network can be managed. And if I go over here and I click on Arrested DevOps, you can see that I can change the page. I show the page it's located at. So if I click on that, that will load. Well, I'll wait for it to load here. I don't know why that's loading so slow. You can change the page, unlink the page, or remove the program. So you can actually kill the show right here on the website. What's going on? Oh, it loaded. So you can actually, that's just generated again when we approve the show. That page was dynamically generated. And I guess maybe what I should do is let me show you. And I don't want to get too geeky here because you guys your eyes are going to roll in the back of your head. So let's go and pick one here. Compiled weekly. I think this is a. Let's do this one here. Let's use Classic Editor. You can see that it's just a little bit of code. ppn-program ID equals 540845. You don't need to know that. We will pre-populate that page for you.
Yeah, that pre-populates, but that's all it does, and then it generates. That page.
So if I click on that page and go, see, you can see that little shortcode just generated that page dynamically. And again, we cache this for about 3 hours, so it's not causing a lot of heavy loading on your WordPress site. And that's really the network plugin. So it's just, and what it is again, it's a way to showcase shows in your network. If you're trying to build a network, again, it's included with Pro Hosting, or part of our Pro Hosting package.
So yeah, if you have a Pro Hosting account, you just install PowerPress after the next version 8.4 comes out, and that network functionality will just be a checkbox, and then you can get into the menus and set that up.
So I'm trying to log in here I've got way too many logins, so let's scroll down. There it is.
Yeah, LastPass don't help you when you've got 20 logins to the same site.
Yeah. It's too many test accounts and so forth. But I'm logging into my personal account, and we're on the Geek News Central podcast, and you see here there's a link for dynamic ad insertion. Now, I use this for demos all the time, and I don't start campaigns, so this might be a little bit messy for all of you. But our dynamic ad insertion, we really built this, I guess for a better word here, for speed. We built this so that a fifth grader could manage a campaign. And again, it's kind of like an onion. You start off and you basically create a campaign. So let's call this test. Let's call this podcast movement PM virtual test. And I'm going to have a start date of, today's the 22nd. And let's just say we're going to run a campaign promoting Podcast Movement all the way through the end of next week, let's say the 30th. And I'm going to run this at the highest priority. I'm going to say this is going to be my highest top campaign to run. I'll set that priority at 10. But if it's going to be a campaign that I'm just going to run when nothing else is running, I can set it as a 1. But for today, we'll set it as a 10, and we'll save it. And then from that point, it's really, once this is up, it's the ability then to determine which programs you want to run and the type of ads you want to do. So it says no ads found, right? So we go in here and we add an advertisement and we say, PM20 promo. I can do a PM20 promo.
That'd be something you would pre-record.
Yeah, I would have already pre-recorded that. And let's say I'm going to run that. I can decide if I'm going to run that as a pre-roll, or I can give it a mid-roll position. Let's say I'm going to run that as a mid-roll 1 in my mid-roll 1 position on my show. And it's at these mid-roll positions, you kind of have to plan to know where your mid-roll spots are going to be with a time hack. And we give instructions on how to incorporate this. And again, I can set a priority here. I can set that as a 10 or all the way down at a 1. So again, it's kind of got that onion feel of a layer. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to save that. And it actually then is going to prompt me to upload a file. Well, I really don't have a file to upload here, so I'm not going to upload one. But this is where you would upload that pre-recorded promo that you'd either put as a pre-roll or a mid-roll. And
you can also do it as post-roll.
Post-roll too. And again, if you're going to do it as a mid-roll, we have a little explanation thing in there and how you edit your ID3 tag. And of course, the ad file would be there. So let's then look at the programs. Now, this may take a second to load because I've got more than a couple of programs. And you can determine which shows that you're going to run this campaign on. So I'm going to run this on Geek News Central Podcast. I'm going to run this on the Geek News Central Special Media feed. I'm going to run this on the new media show. So I can select the shows that I want to run this campaign on. And then once those shows are selected and I'm ready to start the campaign, having that I had already uploaded the media. In other words, I've uploaded the advertisement. All I got to do is hit start campaign. And then every episode that I create from this point forward will automatically have the ad put in through the 30th. If I want to select previous episodes, and I have to go in and there's another management function that you do to select previous episodes to run those ads in. So you're not forced just to run from today forward. You can do your whole inventory. Let's say I've got 1,400 episodes. I could go back and have all 1,400 episodes have that pre-roll dropped in because I don't have the ID3 tag data metamarked the right way on episode 1 that happened in 2004. So I'd want to run that as a pre-roll. If it doesn't see the metamarked data in the media file, it won't. It leaves that file
rebuild
alone.
That file.
Yeah, it won't rebuild. Yeah. So again, we've tried to make this real simple. And you can see I got some test campaigns here. None of them are started. They're all in draft. But you got the ability here to easily go in and self-manage your own ad insertion. And again, the way we've worked this is, as any pro customer gets this included for pre-roll of your last 50 episodes. And then if you want the full ad insertion package, it's $49 for an entire network. So those 3 shows I added, and if I was going to do mid-rolls on those, would be $49 in addition to the pro hosting package, which starts at $100 a month. So really what this really does is, and what we've described to you here, is really a couple of things. I've shown you a number of options today. Number one, with pro hosting, you're going to get the regular stats, our regular pro stats, our advanced stats, which gives you the partial download data, and soon the play tracking data. That's going to be added to advanced stats as an option. You get the network plugin that allows you to showcase your podcast that you have, because most of our pro customers have more than one show. Not all, but most. And then you can use the ad insertion system as well for free, or again for the additional $49 for the full package that gives you everything. So with the tools that we've given you here, Mike, you and I both sync it back up. Yeah, I think we probably are recovering now.
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah, little bump in the road there. Yeah, the stream.
Yeah, this happens once in a while.
Yeah, that's rare. So anyway, long story short here is we've given you a whole host of tools to be able to use. And like I was saying, Mike, with PowerPress, you've got the ability to, for a better word, build a whole network. WordPress and PowerPress, then the network options, and then all of our additional pro tools. But again, as an independent podcaster, you don't need some of this other stuff. You don't need the network plugin. You don't need the ad injection yet. You don't need the advanced stats. But with our basic hosting package that we provide, you get the hosting, unlimited hosting. You get a WordPress site if you need one. You get pro stats. So
and you get the best support in the business.
That's right, the best support in the business. And that's one thing. Mike, it's a good thing you brought that up. You guys can call Mike.
Yeah, we're the only place that has a phone that people actually answer for support.
That's right. You can actually call him. So I think that's the key here. I don't know if we're still online or not. I guess we'll find out. I think so.
I think we are.
Yeah. But it's amazing. You can call a friend. And Mike has got how many years now in podcasting, Mike?
15 plus a little bit.
So,
and we also got Dave that answers the phone, and every once in a while Todd will answer the phone.
Yeah, once in a while, and I think what you're going to find out, I think between Dave, you, and Sean, you guys combined probably have 30 years of podcasting experience.
Oh yeah, easy.
And Mike, if you get stuck, then you go reach out to the rest of the team, and we try to work with work to find out a solution. But customer service today in the podcasting space is almost non-existent except for email. Now, we do answer email 7 days a week, but sometimes you just need that extra, Mike, I'm dying here. I need help. And
it's usually, stuff you can handle in 5 minutes on a phone call and might take 4 or 5 emails back and forth if you did it by email. So sometimes it's just quicker to just say, hey, do A, do B, do C, and what are you seeing on your screen? It's that kind of thing. And
right.
Plus we'll jump on a Zoom call. I've got, Dave and I both will schedule time with you if it's a more in-depth issue or you're just setting up and you run into a roadblock.
Yep. Looks like we're offline on Facebook. So we apologize. Well, we can't really apologize to the Facebook folks.
Yeah. Well, we're still on Podcast Movement, so that's good.
So I think that's going to wrap us up. We've done PowerPress. We've done demo publishing. We've talked about Publisher. We talked about stats, ad injection, PIP, PWA, private internal podcasting, the private web app, the network plugin.
We got a couple other little side projects that are kind of cool too. Subscribe on Android.
Yeah.
Subscribe by email. The Podcast Mirror, which is kind of a FeedBurner replacement. You guys have been around a while. Remember, FeedBurner was kind of the go-to place way back when, and they haven't changed anything in a long time. So we took it upon ourselves to take the best parts of that functionality and rolled our own.
And actually, it's a lot faster.
Way faster.
It's a rocket ship. If you think about, FeedBurner is now owned by Google. They've done nothing with it for years. And then we went in and basically we made modern technology, and this thing is a rocket ship. And if you're having challenges with, let's say you got $1 a month hosting account, and your site's getting a little popular and your feed's getting hit too much, that'll happen if you're on a cheap hosting. You might have some issues. Just move your feed over.
Good problem to have.
Yeah, move your feed over here to Podcast Mirror, and let us take care of that load for you and that bill. And it's fully transparent. It looks like it's your site. When they load the feed, it actually renders a web page instead of gobbledygook. And we basically take care of that. The other site that we have a lot of people use is RSS Feed Validator.
Oh yeah.
If you have feed problems, you think you're having an issue with your show, you're scratching your head a little bit, you can come over here and paste in your RSS feed and validate it. Now, if you don't know what your show's feed is, we even got an option here to help you find it. So let me go ahead and type in my show, and we'll search Apple Podcasts for it. Oh, lo and behold, there it is. So I can view the RSS feed, or I can go ahead and validate So it's running the test now on my show. It says I'm using too much caching. You never can have too much caching, depending if you implemented it correctly.
Yeah, as long as it's implemented correctly, that warning's generally a nothing. But sometimes there are caching systems that can cause issues, and we point those out to you in Cast Feed Validator.
So I didn't get egg on my face here, Mike, because I hadn't run this before the show. So
that's always a danger, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the cool thing about this is it doesn't matter where you're hosting your feed. We'll even validate an anchor feed. So
right.
Why not?
Yeah. So any other thing else, Mike, we should talk about?
No, I think that's about it as far as our services. Definitely. So thanks for watching and checking us out. We're going to run this a couple more times next week. Maybe I won't have to log into Blubrry. It's always those demo crashes or whatever, but hopefully we'll get that polished up for next time.
Yeah, absolutely. So everyone, thanks for hanging out for our little demo, and we hope that you enjoyed. If you have any questions, Todd at blubrry.com, Mike at blubrry.com. We're here to help you. If you want to get started in podcasting, want a 30-day free trial, PM20 is a promo code to get 90 days free with us. So that's a major...
Yeah, it's 3-month code.
Yeah, major promo code. And so anyway, give us a try. We'd love to have you on the platform. We are the world's foremost experts in migrating folks from any website or any hosting provider in the world. So feel free.
Yes, we do have a question in the PM chat. Do we do automatic ad injection? And we just got done demoing that.
Yeah, it's in the demo. You want to scroll back and watch. It was probably about the 40-minute mark or something when this. We don't provide the ads for that system. We provide the technology, and you will provide the ads for it. Yeah, it's self-serve ad injection. Again, it's for folks that are building a network and build a show to a size to be on our pro platform, be on our pro plan. And but maybe someday we'll have the ability to bring in ads from third parties. But for now, it's a self-serve ad insertion program, and that's our clients love that because they just pay us and then they manage it themselves with the ads.
We don't take a cut of those ads.
That's right. We don't take a percentage. So, all right, everyone. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. We'll be back with 2 more demos next week. So everyone take care. Thank you. Bye.
See ya.